Well, concerns are growing for senior citizens with more and more banks going cashless. Yes, banks going cashless. Over-the-counter transactions are no longer available at some Commonwealth Bank branches, with cash only available through ATMs. For more, we're joined by the Chief Operating Officer of National Seniors Australia, Chris Grice. Thanks so much for your time, Chris.
Hi, Sarah. Thank you.
Not everyone's happy about this. I mean, a cashless trend, what's going on?
Well, we're not only sort of seeing cash being sort of, I guess, removed from the economy, but we're seeing obviously a deliberate play to transition everybody over to digital transactions. 2030, they're removing cheques from circulation, so there's a big shift to getting people off cash.
Big shift, also a big adjustment for those it most impacts, including seniors and regional communities.
Indeed, and the feedback that we're getting is that it's not as easy as just tap and go and away you go. It's sort of like some of these regional communities in particular have challenges around internet access, and so even if you're a grey nomad travelling the length and breadth of the country, if you're going to inland Australia and you're wanting to pay for fuel, well, you've got to have cash with you.
If banks do continue down this path, I mean, what does it mean for seniors? What can they do to cope? It's their cash after all. How can they get it?
Yeah, well, and also to get cash, they've got to pay for it as well. We're seeing more and more transaction fees being added onto their accounts if they want to access cash, in particular through ATMs that aren't necessarily provided by the big banks. And I guess there's a lot of work that needs to happen in terms of educating and informing senior Australians in terms of being able to operate with using their smartphones and these apps. And there's even risks around that. I mean, the organisation you're talking about that's sort of making this change, they had an outage on their app which basically lasted a day. So folk who were using the app, it indicated zero balance, no money in their account. And they weren't able to access their money for an entire day, basically. And so that forced people back into the branches and long queues to just get access to what's their money.
Yeah, it's a brave new world with a few glitches along the way. Chris, thanks so much for your insight.
Absolutely, thank you.
A Commonwealth Bank spokesperson has told Today the Commonwealth Bank has created a very small number of specialist centres in major metropolitan areas which are designed to support personal and business customers with more complex banking needs. Goes on to say all of our specialist centres are in major metropolitan locations and very nearby to full-service franchises. Their full statement is on our website, Carl.
Don't worry, there's just no cash in this bank.
No. Why does the bank need cash,
Is there a glitch in the
Carl?
Matrix or something going on at the moment? No cash in the bank?
So.
Anyway.
I think so.
Well, Premier Daniel Andrews says it was an easy decision to cancel the Commonwealth Games. It was originally budgeted for $2.6 billion, but he says it blew out to $6, perhaps even $7 billion.
Those figures are being slammed as inflated and grossly exaggerated. Birmingham's Games in 2022, by comparison, cost $1.5 billion. The Gold Coast, an estimated $2 billion. And Glasgow in 2014, just $1 billion.
Evan Lucas from InvestSmart joins us now. Evan, good morning to you. Questions around how the budget blew out by that much. Do you buy it?
Yes and no, and why I say that and sort of sitting on the fence, apologies, Carl, is if you have 5 regional hubs that you have to provide 5 different infrastructure projects to, 5 different requirements around what areas are going to be redeveloped, then you can make that argument. I mean, the one thing I would say, though, is that, again, that's always going to be the question. That was what was put to him yesterday, was why go through 5 different individual sort of hubs rather than having one? And clearly, you highlight what goes on with the Gold Coast. Geelong is the place to therefore look. Why was it not brought back to one hub? Or even as the Com Games group is saying, why not bring it back to Melbourne and get it done for a price that everybody has seemed to be able to do it for the last 3 to 5 of these events?
Yeah, and also I guess the assumption that perhaps it wouldn't have cost as much as they're saying it now costs. I mean, why can't the government afford it anymore?
Well, I mean, let's put it out there straight away. I mean, the Victorian scenario, looking out to 2027, will mean their net debt is the equivalent of having Queensland, New South Wales and Tasmania combined and a bit more. That is how much debt the state is currently holding. That is how much of a problem that they are facing with regards to funding. And so I would say this very clearly, this won't be the last thing that he has to announce. That has to be clearly part of this. I mean, they've already shown that they've had to water down some of the tax recuperation they put in their budget. It was a couple of months back. Payroll tax for private and independent schools has been round back. So they have a massive debt bill problem, and that therefore is where this is not going to be the only project that has to go by the wayside.
So better from an economic point of view to cut and run, given that they're up the Yarra Creek.
Yeah, I think the way to do it is that, again, they keep justifying these projects that for every dollar in, there's going to be about $1.10, $1.15 return. What's come out with some of the papers lately is that those projects $1 in, some of them are as bad as 51 cents return. So that is probably the argument to you, Carl. The economics of it is not just about the socio side of it, is that it just does not stack up. The costs, the requirements, the overall project benefit is just not there. And that is having to be the strong management that he wants to prefer. If he's doing that, therefore cancel projects that don't make economic sense anymore.
Yep. Well, it's probably not the only one, as you say, and probably why it's not gone down too badly in some parts of Victoria.
Yeah, I guess it's a revelation that you probably might have anticipated a year and a half ago.
Exactly. When you cross your arms, you mean business.
The Commonwealth Bank is defending itself this morning over specialist centres which do not provide over-the-counter cash. Concerns arose over the centres going cashless, impacting those who do rely on physical money. CBA says the centres are located near its normal branches and include ATMs for withdrawals and deposits.